Hello, I'm Mrs. Sapp, and today we will be doing first grade math subtraction word problems. We're going to review this so that you'll be ready for second grade in the fall. We'll be using different kind of strategies that we've already learned with subtraction. But before we get ready, let's get our mind and body calm, alert, and ready to learn. We're going to do a 5 and 45. What this means is for every 45 minutes that you're working, your brain and your body need a 5-minute break. So we're going to do some fun movements to just get our wiggles out. Up here are the movements we're going to do. But before we get started, let's find our home base. To find your home base, make sure your feet are shoulder width apart. And put your arms out, move them around. Make sure that you're not going to hit anyone or anything. Safety first. We're going to start out with our first movement and do it 5 times. Then we're going to add on to that movement each and every time with a new movement. The first movement we're going to do is marching in place. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our next movement, we're going to hit our legs 5 times. But we first have to remember to march. Here we go. March. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The third movement we're going to do is we're going to put our arms out and we're going to do little circles. But before we do that, we have to remember to do our marching, our patting, and then our arm circles. Here we go. March. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Arm circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great job. The fourth movement is we're going to stretch out our neck. You're going to put your ear down to your shoulder and back up. Let's do all of the movements before that first. Here we go. March. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Arm circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Neck stretches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now to calm us back down, we're going to end with deep belly breathing, where we're going to put our hands on our belly, breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. But before we do our last movement, let's do all first 4 and end with our belly breathing. Here we go. March. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Neck stretches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now belly breathing, in through your nose and out through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're calm, alert, and ready to learn. Let's look at our objectives for today. I can solve real-world math problems, including subtraction within 20. I can use different strategies to solve real-world subtraction problems. In previous lessons, we learned how to subtract and how to do it with different strategies, and to also increase our fluency so we can subtract just like that. Make sure you have your packet with you and something to write with. We're on day 6 and it should say lesson 6 at the top of your paper. If you don't have a packet, that's okay. Just find a paper and something to write with. Now let's watch a little video on subtraction story problems.
Hello kids! Welcome to the Dodgeball Gym. Today we will be learning about subtraction in word problems. We have some fun stuff to learn, so let's get started. Does anybody know what this sign means when we see it in a math problem? This sign means to subtract, and some other words for subtract are to take away or minus. Today we are working with word problems which are just stories about math. Here is our first word problem. It says, I have 7 balloons and then 2 of them pop. How many balloons do I have now? Remember, it is good to read it a second time. I have 7 balloons and then 2 of them pop. How many balloons do I have now? I believe that this math problem is asking us to take away because it said that they had 7 balloons, but some of them popped. If a balloon pops, you no longer can play with that balloon, so they go away. So we will be taking 2 of them away, just like it says in the word problem. I am going to start this with a circle drawing. Circle drawings are a great way to illustrate math stories or word problems. I am going to use 7 circles to represent the 7 balloons that we started with. Here are the 7 balloons. The problem says that 2 of them popped. Do you think this means that it will take away 2 balloons or add 2 balloons? We will take away 2 balloons because they popped. I will put an X on 2 of these balloons to show that those 2 went away. Now the rest of the circles that do not have an X are the balloons that I have left. This is an awesome way to figure out the math problem. We need to write an equation to go along with this word problem. If you remember, we had 7 balloons total at the beginning, so we will write the total, or 7, first because this is how many we had before any of them popped. Then it told us that 2 of those balloons popped. We will now use the minus sign or the takeaway sign, which tells me that I am going to take away 2 of those balloons that popped. When we take the 2 balloons away, how many do we have left? Looking at the circles, we started with 7 and 2 popped, and that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 balloons left. Great job, kids! You guys are awesome! Let's quickly do a math mountain, even though we have figured out the word problem.
Just like with our addition story problems we did last time, subtraction story problems also have key words that we need to look out for and be detectives so we know that if we're adding or subtracting. Some subtraction clue words include how many more, how much more, difference, have left, take away, and anything with ER words such as fewer, shorter, farther. If you're ever comparing 2 things, you're most likely subtracting. So let's practice. We're going to read this story problem 2 times. Think about what's important in this problem and what we might need to circle. The lion at the zoo was given 11 steaks to eat for dinner. He ate 9 of those steaks. How many steaks were left over? Now I want you to close your eyes for the second reading and really visualize what's going on. With math problems, this can happen in real life. The lion at the zoo was given 11 steaks to eat for dinner. He ate 9 of the steaks. How many steaks were left over? Now we need to find out what's important in this story problem. 11 steaks is important because that's how much the lion was given. No more and no less. We also need to circle he ate 9. When you eat something, it goes away, you no longer have it. Let's see if you can be a detective and underline any words that you might see that let us know that we're subtracting. Can you find it? We have leftover. Make sure you're circling and underlining these in your packet. And the clue word for today is roses. So now that we know what's important and we know that we're subtracting, let's solve this with different strategies. We're going to use a picture, write an equation, and use a number line. All these strategies we have used before in previous lessons. The 11 green circles at the top here represent how many steaks the lion started with. Our equation is 11 minus 9, because we know that he ate 9 of those steaks. When you eat something, it goes away. So that's how we know we have a subtraction sign. And also we have that clue word left over. So what I want you to do on your packet is once you have your 11 circles drawn, we're going to write X's on the top of 9 of these. On mine, they're just going to disappear, but you can write X's. Here we go. He ate 9, so how many are left? We can clearly see that there are 2 steaks left. But what we can also do is count backward, where you start with the bigger number in your head and count back 9. You'll also be able to see that on our number line down here. On our number line, you always start with the greater number. Now, we have to decide if we're going to jump forward on our number line or jump backward on our number line. Since we're subtracting, numbers get less as you go to the left. So we'll be making jumps to the left. So we should end up with 2 steaks, either strategy we use. We're going to start at 11 on our number line and jump back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That lion had 2 steaks left over. And make sure you label it because it is a word problem and we want to make sure you know what you're talking about with regards to the story problem. Let's try another one. We're going to read it 2 times, and on your packet, circle the important information and underline any clue words that you see. David had $15 when he went to the toy store. He spent 7 of his dollars on a new fire truck. How much money does David have left? I'm going to read this again, and I want you to visualize this. And instead of it being David, this could be you going to the toy store. So close your eyes and picture this in your mind. David had $15 when he went to the toy store. He spent 7 of his dollars on a new fire truck. How much money does David have left? Now let's circle what's important in this problem. Because there's a lot going on, there's a lot of words. Let's circle $15. This represents what he brought to this toy store. He had no more than 15 and no less than 15, exactly $15. We also need to circle $7. This represents how much money he spent on the fire truck. Now let's be a detective and see if there's any clue words that might let us know if we're adding or subtracting. Do you see it? I see have left. That means he started with money and he spent money. We need to figure out what he's going home with. So we're going to start out with a picture, write an equation, and check our work with a number line. You can draw these circles on yours as well. The green circles here represent how much money he started with, 15. Let's write an equation to go with this. He started with $15 and he spent 7 of his dollars on a fire truck. So when you spend money, it's going away. So we're going to be using a minus or a subtraction sign up here. And instead of just crossing them out, we can also count back in our head. So there's lots of different strategies that you can use. We're going to cross off 7 circles. Mine are going to just disappear. So you can cross them off on your sheet. We took away 7 circles. Let's see how many are left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's count backward to see if this strategy also works. Put the larger number in your head, 15, and count back 7. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. 8 circles when we did our picture, and we got 8 when we counted backward. So when we use our number line, we should also get 8. Let's check to see. On our number line, let's start with our larger number, which is 15. And since we're subtracting, our number is getting smaller, so we're going to move to the left. Left is for less. We took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jumps and landed on 8. And don't forget to label your story problem so we know what you're talking about. So again, you could draw a picture and cross them out. You can count backward with the bigger number in your head, or use a number line. No matter which strategy you use, you should end up with the same answer. Now before you try one on your own, let's take a little break. Let's learn about our emotions. We know that we feel all different kinds of emotions all the time. We're not always happy. Sometimes we're sad, sometimes we're mad. So let's see how we can handle some of these strong emotions.
Hello kids! Today we are learning about our emotions. One of the things I struggle with is controlling my emotions. Sometimes I am out at recess and I go to play Foursquare, but the other kids will not let me play. That makes me mad, and I get so mad I just want to scream. Learning how to control our emotions is very important and will help us in many things we do in life. Let me tell you the story of my friend, Mr. Box. Mr. Box is a lot like us because we all have strong emotions and we need to learn how to control and deal with our emotions. Mr. Box did not learn how to control his emotions, and you will see what happened. Mr. Box was at recess and they would not let him play Foursquare, just like me. This made him kind of angry, which is a strong emotion, so he had this anger emotion bouncing around inside him, but did not do anything to calm himself down. Then later on in the day, he raised his hand to answer a question and got the answer wrong in front of the entire class. Even though that is just fine, another kid made fun of him and that made him embarrassed. So now he has another emotion bouncing around inside of him. The next day, he still had not calmed down and was even madder. At lunchtime, everyone lined up and Mr. Box was first in line, but he did not get chosen as the line leader, and this made him sad. So now he has more strong emotions bouncing around inside of him. At the end of the day, they were coloring, and someone used his favorite color that was on his desk. It was his crayon that he brought from home, and someone took it. So one more emotion bounced around inside of him, but it was just too much to handle, and he exploded. Mr. Box did not try to control his emotions. We are like Mr. Box because we can get lots of strong emotions built up inside of us, but when we explode, we do different things. We can hurt people by hitting or even calling them names. These are not good things, and this is why we need to control our emotions. There are many ways to help us control our emotions, like counting to 10, thinking before reacting, getting help from a teacher or parent, or even talking to ourselves about the problem. Talk with your class about what you can do to control your emotions so you do not explode and hurt people. You guys have fun. I am going to put Mr. Box back together and teach him how to control his emotions so he will not explode again. Goodbye.
We all deal with these emotions sometimes, and that's okay, as long as we know how to deal with it. Different strategies you can use is deep belly breathing, slowly counting to 10, or maybe doing some yoga, or sometimes just go and take a walk, as long as we don't explode like Mr. Box. Now we're going to try a problem on your own, and this is in your math packet. I will read it once, then I want you to read it and try to circle important information and underline that clue key detective word that lets us know if we're adding or subtracting. Here we go. Hannah and Jacob each had stuffed animals. Hannah had 13 stuffed animals. Jacob had 9 stuffed animals. How many more stuffed animals does Hannah have than Jacob? Go ahead and read the story problem again and circle any important information you think might be helpful and underline any clue words. I'll give you some time to do that. Let's see how you did. Let's see what you circled and underlined. We should have circled 13 stuffed animals. This represents how many stuffed animals Hannah has. You should have also circled 9 stuffed animals. This represents how many stuffed animals Jacob has. Now let's see if you were a great detective and found that clue word so we know if we're adding or subtracting. I see how many more. This means we're comparing. And when we compare two things, we're going to be subtracting. We're comparing how many stuffed animals Hannah has to how many Jacob has. And also we see the clue word have than. Again, comparing Hannah's stuffed animals to Jacob's. They're not asking us to put all these stuffed animals together. We're comparing them, so we're subtracting. Now I'm going to give you some time to draw your picture, write an equation, and also use the number line to double check your work. Give it a try. I have 13 green circles to represent how many stuffed animals Hannah has. The equation that you should have written is 13 minus 9. 13 represents Hannah's stuffed animals. The 9 represents Jacob's stuffed animals. We want to find the difference between Hannah and Jacob's stuffed animals, so we're comparing, we'll be subtracting. We can cross out 9 of these circles, or we can always put the bigger number in our head and count backward 9. First, let's cross out those circles. You can do that on your paper, and mine are going to just disappear. If you put 9 X's on your circles, you should have 4 left. Now let's try counting backward to see if that strategy works as well. Put 13 in your head and count back 9. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. We got the same answer as in our picture. Now let's triple check and see if it works on our number line. We want to start with our greater number, 13. And since we're subtracting, we're going to take jumps to the left. And when we do this, we should still end up with our 4 stuffed animals from our equation. Here we started at 13 and took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 jumps and landed on 4. So Hannah has 4 more stuffed animals than Jacob. How'd you do? Here's an extension activity that you can do at home. I want you to write your own subtraction story problem. Be creative with it. It can be about anything you want it to be. Kites, trees, pizza, it's up to you. Make sure you use a key word. Some key words for subtraction are have left, how many more, difference, how much more. Write an equation to go with your problem, draw a picture, and solve it. Or see if one of your friends or family members can solve it as well. And don't forget, our secret word for today is roses. I'm Mrs. Sapp. This was first grade math to get you guys ready for second grade in the fall. Subtraction word problems. Hope you enjoyed it and have a great day.